Good evening, everyone. I'm so honored to be here as your host, your MC. I don't know if I could follow Daniel Craig and fire exits, but I am going to try. All right. We need to get into some of the specifics of tonight, especially for our storytellers. Quick show of hands if you've ever told a story. Don't lie, you've all told a story. Quick show of hands if you've ever told a story in a venue like this. Wonderful. Welcome back. And welcome to those of you who have never done this. We are excited to hear your stories. We are here to support you. We are so excited that you're going to share with us tonight. This is the last slam that we have before the one during the festival. So we're really excited to share with you these stories, but also to share some Montclair Film swag, which we'll talk about in a little bit at the end. We need to run through the rules for engagement first, so storytellers, listen up. You will have 5 minutes total for your story. The lovely Jennifer will be at the back of the room. She has 3 folders to indicate your timing. The first is the green folder to let you know you're halfway through. 4 minutes and 30 seconds, with 30 seconds left, a yellow folder. And then again at 5 minutes, you'll see that red folder. We don't go Apollo, we don't yank you off the stage, but once you see that folder, please begin to wrap up the story. Secondly, and most importantly, be on theme. All of our stories will be entertaining. Some will make us laugh, some will probably make us cry. Hope you have your tissues. You sell them at the bar? Yes? No? But we will have a straight-through, no intermission, 10 stories tonight. Very exciting. And we want to make sure that you are following the theme, which I'll announce to you in just a minute. We have 3 lovely judges I'll introduce in a minute. They will have a short deliberation, so we'll have time to hit the bar, hit the restroom again before we hear, in this very friendly competition, who our winners are. Of course, that Montclair Film swag is what's on the line. Again, make sure you have beverages. If you want to do that now, please make a move, hit the restroom. We will begin in just a moment after I introduce our judges and our theme. First up is Kahani Cooperman. Let's welcome Kahani. Round of applause. Kahani's an Academy Award-winning nominated documentary filmmaker and a former co-executive producer of The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. Welcome. All right, let's give it up next for John Rotondo. John is a New York and New Jersey-based screenwriter, director, and producer. He co-wrote the feature film The Garden Left Behind, directed by Flavio Alves, which premiered at South by Southwest in 2019 and won the Audience Award. Yes. He's a graduate of the Goldberg Department of Dramatic Writing at NYU's Tisch School, and he works as a professor in screenwriting, film, and creative writing. Welcome, John. Our third and final judge tonight is Evan Bailey. Let's give it up for Evan. Evan's a film and TV producer and showrunner focused on animation and genre projects. His development and production credits include Invader Zim, Lazy Town, and Sonic Boom, starring the world's best known and his favorite, Hedgehog. Let's give it up for our judges one more time, please. Thank you. Generous audience, thank you. Storytelling is a reflection of who we are, our humanity. We're going to tell the good, the bad, the hilarious, and all of the in-between. It is entirely exciting for me to announce that tonight's theme is New Beginnings. After the years that we have had, I think it's really pivotal that we look at how we can restart, how we can refresh, redirect our lives in those really trying times. We can appreciate that these people will share a bit of their souls tonight, and the curveballs that life has thrown at them, they picked up that ball and they figured out what to do next. Tonight's stories will be about this resiliency. It'll be about the human spirit, reconnecting, re-emerging. Some will challenge our preconceptions. Some you'll find absurd, the levity in the little things. And some will just be a chance for us to take a break from reality. Let's revel in these stories from our community and take on these new beginnings as we hear these 10 stories tonight. Let's jump in with our first storyteller. Please, a warm round of applause for Kelly Kolatak. Thanks, Kelly.
Recently, I found myself in one of those phases where you're just kind of like circling the drain, asking yourself, like, what is the point of anything, questioning it all, and not even coming up with no answer, but just kind of being met with, who cares? You know, it's just bleak. And then, out of nowhere in the mail, I get this gorgeously adorned invitation addressed to me, resident, inviting me to a weekend retreat of new beginnings and empowerment, experience ascension. It's already blowing my mind with phrases like, your only mission is to give yourself permission to live your life. whoa, like sold, you know? I'm thinking this has got to be divine intervention, and it's a weekend in Atlantic City. What could it cost? $10,000? And that's exactly how much it costs. But I have no idea how to quantify enlightenment, so I'm getting all my credit card information in, and suddenly, you know, I'm Roy Scheider, and we zoom out on the room and zoom in on me, and I'm like, wait a second, what am I doing? Let me just give this pamphlet another pass and clarify a few things before I spend all of my credit card's money. What is new beginnings, actually? Because I feel like beginnings only really needs a qualifier when you're starting again. Like the newness is kind of implied. So it's just like, what is it? And when you say ascension, like to where? You know, is this kind of like an expand your mind kind of thing, or more of a like, where we're going, you're going to need toll money kind of thing? Like, what are we talking about here? And I'm just trying to parse out a lot of these phrases like, today is tomorrow today, or every moment is an eternity when you're not living moment to moment. Like, okay, I get it, but I'm not really finding anything revelatory underneath. And now I'm starting to spiral a little bit because I've done it again. This is my pattern. I will believe anything. I'm so easily duped, and I'm right back to when I found out about Santa Claus. You know, it wasn't so much the big reveal, but more this feeling that everyone was laughing at me for not figuring it out sooner. I remember my parents were kind of like, nothing tipped you off the flying. Everyone else does milk and cookies. We do beer and pretzels, your dad's favorite things. You really thought we would let someone into our home to watch you while you sleep? And I'm just like, wait a second. I didn't know lying to me was an option. And forgive me for believing in you, my parents. Let me just kind of get a grasp on that before I go back over some of these obvious plot holes. And I realized I'm always looking outward and to others for the pieces and pixels to light up my life, and then being utterly crushed when what they promise turns out not to be true. You can't know what you don't know. And feelings aren't facts. Sometimes seeing is deceiving, or some other kind of frivolous phrases that were in that pamphlet. But now they're hitting me in a different way. You know, they're not dizzying, they're more directional to the child and the parent and even the Santa Claus within me, who have all of the answers I need. And they've always been with me and will be with me today and tomorrow and today. And I'm really thankful that I have maintained my willingness to believe, to remain open and available. And I'm grateful that I process things in that order, to listen first and ask questions later. And I realize what a privilege it is to be able to do so. Kind of start every morning, almost as if I've learned and experienced nothing new, and begin again. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kelly. Nice job and great start. I was trying to come up with a joke to segue after the today is tomorrow, tomorrow's today, and I actually got lost in my own joke. So we're just going to keep it moving to our second storyteller. Let's welcome GK Jairam to the stage. Welcome, sir.
From him to me, the mic has to be lowered. Actually, that's a pseudonym. My name is really Methuselah. You will see why. When did you first fly in an airplane? When did you first see a television set? When did you first drink champagne? When did you first actually be in a 5-star hotel, not in the lobby, but in a room? All of that and more happened to me in the course of 24 hours on, be prepared, September 3rd, 1968. See, Methuselah? And I was this life-transforming day, and the next 2 weeks, which will be in the next 4 minutes, 50 seconds, is what I'm going to tell you about. And incidentally, it's old beginnings. It's not very new beginning, long ago. You say, what's the big deal about flying in an airplane? Are you kidding? When I came from my village to Bangalore, the capital city, it was a South Indian village called Jannapura, and my uncle would take us, and we looked forward to it, to the small airport. There was one plane that landed and mercifully took off later, and we were there outside the fence, and this was the thrill of the whole trip. And here I was on that day, actually flying in an airplane. I had not flown over an ocean, and this was Pacific Ocean. And then a co-passenger said, it's your first, all of this is happening? Let me buy you champagne. Kind man, I never got his phone number. And then my travel agent had kindly given me 23 hours in Tokyo, and I go up to Tokyo Prince Hotel in a bus and go up the elevator first time, and so many first times you'll be bored. And then I go to the room, it's 3 a.m., I see a television set. I know how to switch it on, I do. And there is a Japanese opera. I don't care. I watched it because I wanted to watch television. I didn't sleep. Next 23 hours around Tokyo, and then San Francisco, friends of mine, an old girlfriend, pick up. We go to see Kathleen Cleaver in Cow Palace, and then moving along. Is that 2.5 minutes? Yes, thank you. And then we see next day Kathleen Cleaver, an ebony goddess. And then Union Square, Hare Krishna. I come from the land of Krishna, and there are these young people with shaven heads and pigtails, and I say, America, America. And then I go to Los Angeles, and let me move to the finale of these 2 weeks. I am walking up Westwood Hill to my apartment, night 11 a.m., and suddenly 2 police cars zoom in. I'm very thrilled. I've never seen this. And then lights are going like this, and 2 cops, each one of them twice my size, walk up to me, and they have their hands like this. You know, I look very dangerous, as you can see. And then they say, may I see your ID? I'm in trouble. I'm a 2-week-old immigrant with an F1 visa student, and only ID I have is my Indian passport. And who carries the passport? And I say, I have left it in my apartment. And where is that apartment? I point out to a 15-story building there, a dorm. Say, man, don't kid me. That's a rich kid's dorm. What are you doing in that dorm? And what are you doing walking at this hour here? I say, officer, my friends celebrated my birthday, September 18th, and I don't have a car, so I was walking back. All right, you say your apartment is there. How come you're there? I say, Harold, the director of the dorm, told me that if I taught him open systems theory, he would let me share his apartment, and that's what I'm doing. They say, show us this, Harold. If you don't have accommodation there, we have alternative accommodation for you. This is Los Angeles. He's a Hollywood understudy, probably. But he does, and they march with 2 handcuffs. And then I walk up there, and I go up, and I then realize I don't have a key. Harold is with his girlfriend. And then I shout from the door, Harold, 2 officers are here with me to see my passport. Why am I shouting? Because Harold is accustomed, Southern California, 1968, various inhaling substances of very nice nature are inside, and I don't think he wants us to see that. And then Harold walks out, very white, very big, and in a fancy dressing gown. And he takes a look, he drinks in the scene, and he says, Doc, I'm so happy you came. I was worried about you. And he turns around, guys, thank you very much for bringing my professor back. I'm neither a doc nor a professor, but Harold is very kind. They say, all righty, and they are so disappointed. Even the handcuffs are hanging down. And then we go in, and then we discuss open systems theory with inhaling substances. And September is a very special month because yesterday was my 43rd wedding anniversary. Love you, man.
Congratulations and thank you, GK. Happy anniversary. Gotta ask, Harold, still a friend of yours? Of course he is. Of course he is. I'm sure he'll have another career next time we see you. Very exciting. Thank you, GK. All right, let's keep it going for our third storyteller. Let's bring up Linda Shortman. Welcome, Linda.
Hi. Montclair is my new beginning. For 65 years, I lived in Rhode Island, small town, small state. I knew everybody, everybody knew me. The reasons that I came to Montclair are a story for another time. Tonight's about new beginnings. Mine started last year in August when a moving truck came to my house, took all my worldly possessions. Wild to watch all your life go into the back of a truck, pull away, and headed to New Jersey. I followed and met the truck here the next morning. Arrived at the apartment that I've rented. They unloaded all my furniture and boxes in 3 hours and disappeared. And there I was. And through the course of packing, all I kept saying was, I just want to be surrounded by boxes in my new apartment. That's all I want. And there I was. And in the course of the unpacking, my neighbors would come by my open door, my new neighbors would come and poke their heads in, introduce themselves, say welcome, and if you need anything, let me know. I'd never moved. Every task, every experience was new. I took a couple of weeks to unpack, and I remember running into someone a few days after I got here, and they're like, you all settled in? I'm like, seriously? No. I got out into town here and there getting food and groceries and just trying to find my way around. And I learned that if I said the phrase, I've just moved here, it was greeted with a very warm smile and a huge welcome to Montclair. I was floored. Everybody was just starting to come out from pandemic. Many of us were masked, and it was so warming. And then it was followed by recommendations for restaurants, stores, parks, and more. I walk 3 to 4 miles a day for exercise. If you see some lady strolling around, that's me. And this is the perfect town for that. When I first got here, I took a different route every day so I could learn the streets. Getting lost is the best way to learn a new place. In the course of this, I found the stores, parks, the library, the art museum, restaurants, gardens, and a brewery. Excellent find. Then I got in the car. I'm a big researcher. I did my tourist research to find out what was in the area, and I found Great Falls in Lou Costello's hometown of Patterson, the Cherry Blossom Festival in Brambrook Park. I discovered views of New York City from Kipps Castle and Eagle Rock Reservation. My grandchildren went hiking with me at the Great Swamp, and we explored Turtle Park Zoo together. I'm a huge film fan, so the return of Montclair Film Festival felt like a very personal welcome. The Claridge is a 4-minute walk from my apartment, so I took advantage of films and events with many other film enthusiasts. Doing something familiar on unfamiliar ground was kind of a thrill. Now I'm a regular at the Claridge and a member. Become a member. I've been here a year, and I'm very happy with my decision to move to Montclair. Friends and family from home say, no, I correct myself. Friends and family from Rhode Island say, how do you like New Jersey? I say, Montclair suits me. Resources and events interest me. The warmth, diversity, and helpfulness of the people I've met here is heartening. My grandchildren and children are close by now. I look forward to more exploring, more discoveries. It's been a very positive new beginning and made Montclair quickly feel like home. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda. What a wonderful love letter to this great town. Thank you. My mom has the same philosophy. Go get lost somewhere, you'll learn it so quick. And we used to, as kids in the back of the van, we'd say, Mom, where are you driving us? And she'd tilt the mirror down. Crazy! She's lovely. You get along great. All right, thank you for that wonderful love letter. We have something we've never had in the history of a Story Slam about to happen. A back-to-back storytelling from siblings. Sibling rivalry, friendly competition. Completely random, we put them in this order, actually. But let's welcome to the stage Catherine Kovacs. Thanks, Catherine.
So my husband and I were married in 2001, and around the time of our wedding, our daughter was actually 2.5 years old, living in Missouri, and about to enter the foster care system. We hadn't met her yet. It would take 7 more years, and this is our story of a new beginning with her permission. So my husband and I got married in our mid to late 30s, and we always thought we'd start a family. I always thought I'd have a baby, be a mom, and my mom had her first child at 30, and she had her last child, my brother, at 40. And so I always thought I'd have time. I always thought I had time, but, it didn't really work out that way. And as time went on, we talked to the fertility specialist, and they said, kind of matter-of-factly, because I guess they say this all the time, that, our chances of conceiving were less than 5%. And you always remember, right, those times of your life. And I remember the weather, and I remember it was raining, and I remember being very devastated, but also holding on to the hope that just maybe we'd be in that 5%. But, we weren't, and we started to realize that, and we started on our adoption journey, and we looked at infant adoption, because that's what people do, right? And so we joined a support group, and we started to learn about international and U.S. adoption. And I won't go into all that except to say that U.S. adoption, we went to, good agency, very reputable. And they said there's a lot of competition, so they suggested we put together what looked like a marketing brochure, and they showed us an example, and it was like people like a sailboat and like a mansion and then a 75-person family that's going to welcome this baby. And we really, I don't know, it wasn't resonating. Like, I didn't want to compete. We wanted a child, but that just didn't feel right. And international, there had its own issues. By the way, many people do adopt infants, and it's a wonderful thing, but it just wasn't resonating. And our dads had passed away, so there was a lot of grief and sadness. And I saw this ad looking for mentors for children who had been in the they used to call it DIFUS, now it's Children's System of Care, basically social services. And I became a mentor to this lovely 8-year-old girl. And I really fell in love with her and her siblings. And it sparked the conversation with my husband. We're older. There's a lot of older children that need to be adopted. And people aren't competing for these children, unfortunately. It takes them on average 4 years to find a family, and many age out of the system. And so we began. We got licensed as foster care parents, and we got licensed at Home Study, sent it out, and then that's when we learned about Alyssa, who was 9 years old and living in Missouri. And so we flew down to Missouri, and I think it was September 2008. And just like I remember what the fertility doctor said, we remember very clearly the first time we met Alyssa. We couldn't believe that this beautiful girl could be our daughter. I remember her little hairband and the little flower in her hair. And so we flew down 4 more times. And then the last time was in December 2008. And we were getting ready to take Alyssa back from Missouri to New Jersey. And there was a lot of anticipation and fear, but, every new beginning, and it was very much a new beginning for all of us, also has endings, right? So Alyssa had a lot of endings because she had to give up her dream of being reunited with her siblings because she had been separated from her older sister, her biological sister, who had been adopted by one family, and then her younger brother, who had been adopted by another family. And then she had to give up the hope, actually, of staying in the group home she was living in, because that was really a safe place for her. And she had made, the staff were like parents, and the children were like her siblings. And she had to come, with us, strangers who don't know what they're doing, right? We really didn't know what we were doing. I would argue we still don't know what we're doing. And then us, being, again, fearful. Can we really help this girl who, really deserves good parents? And so we get on the plane with, fear and trepidation and anticipation and hope. And this is true. We take off, we look out the window on the left-hand side, and there is this beautiful rainbow. And it was stunning. And I really do think it was a sign. And I think we all needed to see that. And we said to Alyssa, that rainbow is a sign that we were meant to be together. And it's a promise. And we go back to that many times, because I'll tell you that complex trauma, these children go through a lot. And whether you're a soldier coming back from war or you're a little girl who's just suffered way too much, there have been many hard days. And there were days when, like, all the pieces are on the ground and the past is intruding on the future, and you don't know how to make it better. We do say in our family, let's start over and let's begin again. And that's what we do. And that's a gift. And I just want to say thank you to Alyssa, who's here, who's the bravest person I know, and my husband for going on this journey of new beginnings back then and today. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Catherine. What a beautiful story. And thank you for shedding light on fertility issues and the struggle to become parents. It's something we don't talk about enough, but I think normalizing it more and more just helps everybody find their own path to their family. Thank you. It was beautiful. All right, Michael, are you ready? Michael Kovacs. Let's welcome him up. All right, give him a round of applause. Reset, new beginning, fresh energy.
Buckle up. It is 1996, and I'm not having a very good year. I'm not in a very good space. For the past 6 years, I've been applying to graduate schools for music, and I've been turned down every single solitary time. This is making the voices in my head, the memories of my teachers back at Rutgers, bark like dogs on meth, especially the one teacher who went up to me and went, "You're horrible. You'll never be a good composer." But don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. A guy the next semester said the same thing right to my face. So I'm feeling really good. I'm 4 years into trying to get into the New Jersey music scene, right? I'm doing this alternative acoustic cello-y kind of thing. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm getting real tired, really, really tired of traveling 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours, or bonus round across the country on my own dime to play for 20 people, 13 people, 7 people, 4 people, or nobody. It's not a great feeling. And I'm working 3 jobs. One's at a cemetery, and I'm punching it for 14, 15 hours a day sometimes to save up money to get to music school. That's why in September of '96, you will find me on the corner of Fabulous and Homicide in Minneapolis, 1 block off Nicolette. I am staying in a 3rd floor walk-up with no air conditioning and more roaches than all of your nightmares put together. You got that? I have no car, and the school is 2 miles away, and I walk that every day back and forth. And that school, that's music tech. It doesn't exist anymore, but it did then. If you want to know anything about that neighborhood, here's what it is. One thing. The beacon, the mecca of that part of town, 1 block away from school, is Sex World. A not 1, not 2, 3-story sex Uber store. 3rd floor, a museum. Google it. It exists. Okay. Now at this school, I'm going to be taught by a man named James Ostrich. James Ostrich is not a man, people. He is a presence. He is something of almost a myth. He is a mensch. He is a mensch. L'chaim. He is a mensch. He is a mystic. He is a minotaur. He is a saint. He is a sinner. He is a preacher. He is the kindest, most intelligent human being I have ever met, and he is going to go inside my soul, go inside my heart and my brain, and by the time I'm done with him there, my whole perspective of my reality on music, composition, orchestration, life, communication, it will all be changed and I will rise from the ashes. But then again, there's also the students that are there, right? I'm 28 and they're about half to a full decade younger than me. Okay, but I'm a stranger in a strange land, right? But that's a good thing. See, because strangers, they become mirrors, right? They don't know you, you don't know them. And then all of a sudden, whoosh, there it turns back and all of a sudden there's this beautiful light shining all between us, y'all. There was Tommy, there was Seth, there was Matt, there was Scott, the percussion major, and we're just loving each other. They're younger, they're looking at me and they're going, oh my God, this is a great guy. He's a really nice guy. And we're laughing and we're having a great time. Now, how easy was Minneapolis? Well, I'll tell you how easy it was compared to New Jersey. Within 1 week, I'm going to see Bob Mould. At the end of the show, I talked to a woman next to me and I give her a CD. She has a local NPR radio show. I am then being booked to perform and be interviewed there. Okay, but easy, not even trying. Then I get a cello player. Oh, poof, we book a gig. We play Jitters Coffee Shop. Of course, it's named Jitters. It's a coffee shop on Nicollet, right? Kaboom, there we are. We're doing great. Now my friends are going, hey, guess what? I want to be your manager. I want to do a film with you. I want to record with you. I'm a recording major. And all this is so easy. And my brain is just resting. I remember leaving my apartment one time and one morning and I'm walking out, my face hurts. I'm like, am I having a stroke? I mean, I have so much caffeine, but it's like, no, I'm like, oh, no. Oh my God, I'm smiling. And I haven't smiled this much in my entire life and I feel so good. But then right near the end of this semester, this little voice comes in my head and it goes, you have to leave here. And I'm like, why? And it goes, you can't stay. You can't stay here because this is Eden. And Eve couldn't stay here and you can't. This place that you somehow arrived at randomly is the perfect place for you. This is the place where you finally felt at peace, finally felt beautiful and valuable. And your friends are calling you gifted. And your teachers believe in you. Your friends believe in you. And guess what? We're off to the races. So I leave, but before I go, I got to do one last piece. It's a classical piece, violin, 2 cellos, contrabass, and spoken word on a CD. Oh, you need a conductor. There it is, Phil Gonzalez. Hi, Phil. Phil worked on the first Star Wars movie. He worked on Apocalypse Now. He worked with Stevie Wonder. He worked with Peter Gabriel. He worked with Sting. And now he's conducting my piece. Of course, it's just that easy. We do the piece at the very last concert for the students before a break. And poof, we get a standing ovation. First ever standing ovation at the school for a student thing. Phil pulls me aside and he says, I want to work with you. You're talented, you're good. It's amazing what the human soul can accomplish when it's given a little bit of love and understanding. Thanks a lot.
Yes. Thank you, Michael. The bravery in this room tonight. Walk away from the beautiful Eden. Wow. Thank you. All right. Siblings, thank you for your power. Entirely different vibes. Thank you. Your sister's a nun? We can't make this up. We rebook them or what? Okay. I love that. All right, let's keep it going. Number 6 coming up. Let's give it up. Round of applause for Katie Zurich.
I think we're just right here. Okay. It's 2015. The nurse hands me the baby, and she says, here you are, Mom. And I look around, and I think, where's my mom? And then I realize, oh, I'm the mom. I look at my husband, who's standing, green, scared, shaking, trying to be brave. And I look down at this baby, and I think, oh my. And the nurse leans in and she whispers to me, buckle up, we're about to begin. And I said, we're? And she said, oh, I'm not gonna let you do this alone. I'll be in a couple hours and I'm gonna give you some advice. Okay, a couple hours go by, no nurse. A lot of screaming. Breastfeeding, it's a real thing. It's not natural. Turns out there's a lactation consultant who can come and manually help you learn how to express milk. Again, my husband, looking green, overwhelmed, tries to be brave and smiles at me, And I look down at this baby and I say, oh dear. The nurse comes in later that night. My husband is hanging off the pathetic cot they give the dad, and I'm holding the baby, starting to cry. And she pulls up a chair and she says to me, it's going to be okay. It's like everything new. It's scary. You'll get over it. And before you know it, you'll be fine. But then she says to me, let's have a chat. Self-care is going to look a little different now. And I said to her, I am acutely aware there's an ice pack in my pants, and I'm sitting here with a baby sucking on my boob, watching my husband sleep from the very hard watch he just had, me delivering his child. And she said, already you're off to a great start. You know. We continue on, a little banter. And then she says to me, can I ask you a question? What do you do for a living? Suddenly I stammer because I have been afraid of this question postpartum the entire time, because months earlier we made the decision that for financial purposes and also because it really was something I wanted to try, that I would stay at home. And I don't know why, but suddenly it didn't feel proud or right. And it was downright fear of judgment to say, I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom. I mean, I wanted to tell her, hey, I teach college English for a living, and I work with students who struggle to read and write, and I love that, but I gave that job up. And oh, I'm really excited for this new role, but I couldn't say anything. So I just told her, I think I'm gonna stay at home. And she said, lean into it, lean all the way in. So I leaned hard. I mean, we're talking baby classes. We're talking books and blogs. We're talking baby gym class. And I'm like, ready to roll. I've got this 9-month-old rolling on this carpet. I think she's headed to the Olympics. I'm feeling good. I'm so far into it that I'm taking up all these habits and hobbies, and I'm telling myself I am gonna make that nurse proud. What do you know? We decide to have another kid. Now I got another infant strapped to my chest. I'm chasing the 2-year-old around the baby gym. I'm starting to think that life feels good. And then someone says, what do you do for a living? I don't know how to answer this. I mean, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I'm 2 years into the gig, and I still don't feel proud. I'm ashamed. I want to tell her, hey, I had a great story. I wrote a Nobel Prize, but I've got nothing. All I did was do some potty training today, talk to the cat like it was my husband, and wonder how I was going to convince him that it was okay that I ordered dinner because I was home all day. But let me tell you, this baby has reflux, and I'm not sitting down. So, deep breath. I begin again. What do I want to do? Who do I want to be? This is all happening while we're at baby gym, by the way. So there's like toddlers rolling around, moms with infants strapped to them. Some people are breastfeeding. People are talking about the pacifier that works, the bottle and the nipple that is the best. And I'm meanwhile having this existential crisis. What do I want to be? Who am I? So I remember this nurse telling me on my final night in the hospital, don't blink, it'll go by fast. Make sure you ask all the right questions and just know there's really never one answer. This past fall, I packed up my kindergartner and second grader, and I ended my job title as stay-at-home mom. I've been swirling in this sea for the past 7 years, copious cups of coffee, endless dreams and destinies for myself, for them. But I sent them off to school. I came home. I sat down on the couch and I thought to myself, what do I want to be? I want to be exactly what I've done for 7 years. I want to be fearlessly devoted to someone and something so much that it doesn't really matter what the answer is, but that I never stop asking the question. Something new. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Katie. That was beautiful. One of the only countries in the world where the first thing somebody asks you, what do you do? Doesn't matter. Thank you. That was beautiful. All right. We are at number 7 already. Get ready, we're strapping in. Stuart Ginsburg is coming up next. Let's give him a round of applause.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening. So about a year ago, my bathtub tried to kill me. Now I know that sounds crazy, as if I have inanimate objects coming at me all the time. But let me explain. About a year ago, I moved up here. I live in Bloomfield now. I moved from Hoboken. I was there 23 years. And I moved right near where Glen Ridge is, that station is. Beautiful, nice, new apartment building. And I was in Hoboken. I lived alone. I've gotten divorced, so I decided to move here. I teach at Montclair State University. I thought, hey, I'll be near work, meet a lot of nice new people. It'll be great. So I'm there like my first week there. I really haven't told many people where I've ended up in terms of sent some emails out. This is very important. I didn't give anyone an extra pair of keys because I just hadn't gotten to it. So around the first week, I decide I'm going to take a bath. I'm going to do something new. I haven't taken a bath since I've been 10, right? So I'm like, why not? Why not just take a bath? You know, it seemed more, no offense, but it seemed more like women would do it. You see it in a movie. They have their nice wine. It's something you would do for your wife or loved one, but I would never take it, you know? So, well, why not? I'll take the bath. So I get it. I fill the bath water up, and I'm taking the bath, and I realize all of a sudden I made a really big mistake because the bathtub was very small. It was built for a very small person, a child or a woman who would drink wine in that bathtub. I think that's what it was for. And I start flopping around a little bit, and I'm just thinking in my head all these disaster scenarios, you know, like I'm going to be all a prune when I get out of this in 2 hours. Or, you know, you're going to hear the next door neighbor, you know, see a article about me, you know, smell from apartment alerts local neighbor to get, I don't know, he seemed like a nice guy, but he was all decomposed by the time we got to him. So you're thinking about all this stuff. And I don't have my cell phone with me in the bathroom because I think that's weird. You know, do you ever talk to someone, you have to go to the bathroom, you're taking, you know what, or you're shaving, you're like, why would you do that? So my cell phone is in the living room, and I'm thinking, why would I call the cops anyway? A 911 call, that would be very embarrassing. Hi, I'm stuck in the bathroom, and they would have to come there, and then my landlord would know because she could fine $75 if they have to break in the door. So I was like, I don't want to be that guy when you first come and you know, go and cause a problem with my landlord. So I take my foot and I turn the nozzle thing off, and as the water goes down, I feel like I should be relieved, but I'm not because I'm freezing because I really hadn't put the thermostat, the heat up. I just was learning how to use a thermostat too, and it was one of those cold fall days in October, right? And it was very cold, and I was shivering in the bathtub. And then I flipped myself over this way, and you know, for some reason, I'm alone. I don't know why I did this. I closed the stall shower doors because I was taking a bath. Like, why would I do that? And the glass doors, and I'm going like this. I'm like, I'm banging my head a bit, and then I open the doors, and I realize as I'm jumping out over, my feet and legs are asleep, and I'm jumping over, and I land like a flopping fish, and I hurt my knee, you know, and I was very upset. Thank you for laughing at my pain, by the way. It's very nice of you to do that. I feel like we're together on this journey, in this new beginning that I have. You know, great theme, by the way. Thank you for this theme. So I get up and out, and you know, I put my clothes on, and I decide right there, I am never taking a bath again. Never. I mean, it was 45. I'm 56, 45 years. In 45 years, I'll be very old, and maybe they'll force me to take a bath then, you know, with Epsom salts or whatever they do with very older people. But I'm never going to take a bath again. And I told my friend this, and they said, it was like a new agey friend who I don't think I should be friends with her anymore, because she said, well, the water signifies a rebirth. And you are in your bathtub and you rebirth. No, I'm not. No, it was a new beginning. and I learned not to take a bath, and I learned that I really love my new apartment and really love living in this area. So thank you for listening.
Yes, Stuart. Thank you so much. I think that's the first time I've been heckled while someone's telling a story, so I appreciate that. New beginnings. Amazing. $75. You weren't willing to risk the break-in fee for your own life. Thank you, Stuart. That was awesome. Good to laugh. All right, we just have a few more. Let's give it up and welcome number 8, Laura Quiros.
So before I begin, welcome to Montclair, Linda. You're welcome. Okay, so at the age of 28, I married my high school sweetheart. We lived in Brooklyn at the time. We got married in Prospect Park. And when we decided to have a family, like most of us here do, we decided it would be best to move to Montclair, and we did. I gave birth to my beautiful daughter, Carla, who's now 15. But after a few years of issues regarding race and culture, we got divorced. And so I was alone, a single mom with my daughter. And imagine being with somebody since you were 16, and now you're alone. And so I had a little bit of a wilding out period, I must say. And I found myself back in Brooklyn on those weekend nights at a bar where I met my second husband. And he had lived in Brooklyn at the time and decided to move to Montclair. And at age 39, we got married, and he gifted me with my second daughter, Isabel, who is now age 9. But again, issues of race and culture and trauma came into the relationship, and we divorced. And I said to myself, I am never doing this again, right? So at the same time, I am currently an associate professor at Montclair State University also. I teach social work. My research is in social justice work. And at the time, I was an assistant professor on a tenure track. And if anyone knows anything about that, it's a grueling process. And I was traveling from Montclair to Garden City, Long Island, 4 to 5 days a week. And my mom, who lived in Westchester, would come and watch my girls religiously, sleep over, stay, cook, do anything that we needed her to do. And so during this time, I got tenure, which was amazing, particularly for a faculty of color. And I got promoted to the position of associate dean, which even meant more grueling time. My kids were growing. My mom was there. It was okay. And so on one of my breaks during lunch, I happened to be in a colleague's office, and I was looking through Facebook. And every summer, I would still take the girls to Montclair, to Martha's Vineyard, where we'd stay with friends for a week or two. And I needed a bathing suit. I was single, I had kids, but I needed a really nice bathing suit. And so I'm looking through Facebook, and my colleague was in the fashion field, and I found this amazing bathing suit that also had a picture of an amazing designer who made the bathing suit. And I said, I want the bathing suit, but I also want to talk to the designer. And so we started to text back and forth. And he said he'd send me the bathing suit. And I said to him, does a man come with the bathing suit? And he said no. And it was ha, 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 and lots of texting. Long story short, in December 2021, he moved to Montclair, and we bought a house together, which we made a home. And I want to emphasize that because it was the kind of home that we built. He was a bachelor with 2 older kids. We have 4 kids between us, and we made a home, the kind of home that had the psychological safety and the freedom and the fun that I always dreamed of having. And so that's a beautiful thing, my first new beginning. At the same time, my mom, who in March of 2021 started to get sick, and no one really knew why, and we live, my mom is white and Jewish, and lots of family secrets and not talking, and, wonderful grandmother, wonderful mother, but a lot of things she didn't share. She actually had stage 5 lung cancer, and in June 2021, she passed away way too fast. And so my second beginning was learning to live without my mom. And so how do you do that? And I've learned how to incorporate grief into my life. I've learned how to look. I feel closer to her now than I did when she was alive. I talk to her every day. And so that was the second new beginning for me. And so at the same time, COVID, grief, loss, but also this beautiful home with this man that calmed my storm, that calmed my children's storm, that cooked and was a handyman and brought my community of friends and family together in a way that I had never expected. And so there was a position at Montclair State University, and it was an assistant track professor. And I said, I'm not applying for assistant faculty. There's no way I'm going through that tenure process again. And my colleague was like, Laura, just apply. They need faculty of color. Everybody does. So I applied, and I got the job, and I got tenure. And so I started at Montclair State University in September of this year, September 1st, in a tenure track position in the School of Social Work. And Lloyd and I, that's my husband's name, he proposed to me in August of 2021. So my mom passed in June. We went to Martha's Vineyard, as we always do. He proposed. I was shocked. The girls knew. His kids knew. And I said yes. And we got married at 18 Label this past July with all of our friends and family and my mom there in spirit. And so I am thankful for this new beginnings because it is an opportunity for us to look at trauma, for us to look at the complexity of our lives, for us to push past stereotypes. This is the first time that I am proudly standing here that I've been married 3 times and 3 times a charm, and I promised you that. So thank you for the New Beginning title, and I wish everyone safety and love and lean into those new beginnings. So thank you.
Yes, Laura, thank you. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for your bravery. Do you charge hourly? Are we going to get booked for the session? Also, you make men's suits or no? No? All right. Don't have enough material for that. All right, we have 2 more. Get ready. Next up, second to last, is going to be Alberta Berman. Let's give it up for Alberta.
I'm a Jersey girl. And for reasons that would take far more than my 5 minutes up here, I found myself trapped in Florida. My new beginning, began in 2019 when I said, I got to make my way up back to my roots where I grew up. And there were many of my friends from the Garden State who chimed right in and were more than willing to help me do that. My friend Luann lives in the Pine Barrens. She's happily married, and she does couples things with their couples friends. And she was urging me to buy a duplex in her neighborhood and be nearby. And I thought, well, I'm a single person, and I really need a little community with a little more action. So, nah. My friend Trisha up in North Bergen said, in North Jersey said, sell the condo in Aventura and buy a house up here. And I thought, I don't know, shoveling snow, the taxes, ka-ching, ka-ching. Yeah, I don't think so. I even thought of maybe trailer park. I'm trying to think outside the box. And then I thought, well, I'm kind of into fitness, and the idea of telling people I live in a double wide just didn't jive with me. So finally, a friend of mine was searching around and found a 1-bedroom, 2 blocks from the beach in Ocean Grove by the shore. The price was right, and I said, sight unseen, I'm going for it. May of 2019, I drove up the 1,200 miles in my Honda Civic, packed right up to the roof, 2 cats in tow, and I drove into the new town that would be my home. Has anybody been to Ocean Grove? Do you know what I'm talking about? It's a Victorian historic place where the houses are lovely. They're all crammed together. They've got 3 feet to 6 feet inside. And as I was driving through town on this narrow street, I was thinking of one of God's commandments, love thy neighbor. And I thought, well, that sure has got to be true here because your neighbor's right on top of each other. And so when I drove up to my place, the first thing I saw is heaps of debris. They had just put the roof on. And there's construction material on the front lawn and the side, and there's a guy drinking beer and feeding squirrels on the porch. I thought, oh, okay, whatever. I go inside to check out my new place, and I learned pretty soon that my bedroom butts right up to the porch. And so this guy feeding the squirrels is right outside my bedroom. And now I hear he's playing loud rock and roll music, and I'm like, it's like he's in my bedroom. And I said, this is nothing I can't deal with. I'll go. So I'd had a long ride, and I said, I'd like a nice refreshing shower. I go into the bathroom, and to my delight, there's a nice big claw bath. And I'm thinking of relaxing times and soaking in the tub, but right now I'm going to take a shower. So I turn on the spigot, I get in the tub, and right away it's rock and roll. I feel like I'm on a safari, a surfing safari, and I get out, I call maintenance, and they get a technician to come over. He looks under the tub and he goes, "Lady, you only got 3 legs on this tub. Did you see another leg laying around anywhere?" No. And off he goes, he leaves me with the 3-legged tub. I go out and I do a few chores, and anybody who knows about Ocean Grove, it's a dry town, but the saying goes that the porches are wet. Well, my particular porch evidently is wetter the most, louder the most, and smokier the most. When I came back from my chores, it was party central. Friends, neighbors, the people in the all having a good old time. And I knew I was moving into a multi-dwelling place, but I wasn't quite prepared for the dwellers that were there. I met Tie-Dye Ted. Ted's an old hippie, and he had traveled with Jerry Garcia, who's a deadhead, and he's telling stories of glory days. There's another guy who's been living there 14 years with his wife, and he's bragging about his investments in the stock market, and when their ship comes in, they're going to get out of this place. And then there's a very quiet lady in the corner, and she was quiet until she started smoking the wacky tobacco. Anyway, when I first moved in there, I said, what did I get myself into? And now 3 years later, this is my home. The people on the porch are my friends. We look after each other, and they've been part of my new beginning.
All right. Thank you, Alberta. Okay. We had our last story. Let's all take a collective deep breath. There's been a lot of sharing. Let's revel in it. All right, I'd love to bring up last, but certainly not least, Mary Amato. Let's give her a round of applause.
Any Midwesterners out there? No? Oh, yay! I was living in Indiana. I was 3 years out of college, 3 years into my teaching career. I was about to get married. I was about to buy a house. And I woke up to a deep need to flee. I had been suppressing this crazy and scary dream of moving to San Francisco, where I knew no one, and of finding a room of my own to write in. I didn't dream of becoming a famous writer. I just wanted to write. I wanted to have experiences and write. Because when I was writing, that's when I became fully awake to the meaning and beauty of life. So I said goodbye to everything, and I packed one backpack, more notebooks and pencils in that backpack than clothes, and I hopped on a train. Of course, no phone, no GPS, no Airbnb reservation. Back then, we relied on the kindness of strangers and the kind of courage that comes from complete ignorance. At the San Francisco train station, a kind stranger gave me a tip on a residential hotel that had reasonable rates. He hadn't stayed there, but he knew the address, and so off I went. And I arrived before the sun set. And the man behind the counter didn't speak fluent English, but the signs were very clear, the prices were listed, and they were great. I was so excited I was going to get a room of my own in which to start my writing career. I pulled out my cash, and his hand came down. He looked at me sternly and said, "No work in room." And I thought to myself, well, maybe, there are people who rent the rooms and use them for office space, and that's not allowed. And no work in room. And I said, oh, I won't work in my room. I figured, he wouldn't know if I'm writing. So he gave me the key, and I very excitedly walked down the long hallway. I passed by some of my fellow residents, and I got to my room, and I was so excited to see that there was a desk by a window. Before I could even open the curtains, a new neighbor? I went to the door, looked through the peephole, and there was a nice-looking man. He had a wallet out, and he said, "How much?" And I said, "I don't understand." And he went away, and I shrugged and went to unpack my notebooks and my pencils. And this time it was a younger man, and he also had a wallet out, and he said, "How much?" And I didn't say anything, and he went away, and I walked over to the window, and I pulled open those curtains, and by now the sun was setting, and the neon lights were coming out. And across the street from my very hotel, I could see, very much like that 3-story mansion that you saw, my dear, the world's first topless and bottomless show. And on that establishment was a very large, shapely neon woman, strategically placed 2 blinking red lights. I turned around and saw my room with new eyes. The headboard was broken, the lampshade was gone, and there was a stain on the ceiling like the size of Montana. And then, how much? That kind of work, I realized. So I walked over to the door and I said really loudly, hopefully so that everyone could hear, "I do not work in my room." And now, fully awake to the meaning and beauty of my life, I sat down at that desk across from my neon companion, and I started to write my first stories. And this month, I am celebrating the release of my 27th book. Thank you very much.
Amazing. Thank you, Mary. Wow. That was tonight's Story Slam, all 10 stories. So many hills, valleys, peaks, roads we went down tonight. Thank you for taking this journey with us. We're going to give our judges about 10 minutes to deliberate and decide our top 3 stories for the night and award those prizes. Please help yourself to our snack bar, hit the restroom while we wait. Judges, please head to the back to deliberate. Thank you so much. You've been a great audience. Let's give it up one more time for our storytellers. You're speaking on the behalf of the team.
I'm just handling the initial, and then we'll go down the line. So, what an incredible group of storytellers we had tonight. Let's have another round of applause for everybody. Thank you all so much for your sharing your personal stories and your observations. It was really, really wonderful. So we'd like to kick it off with a special jury prize in addition to our top 3. And our special jury prize has a name, which is the Don't Want to Spend $75 to Have the Door Broken Down Award. And that goes to Stuart Ginsburg. Thank you. Thank you.
Stuart, will you stay up here with us? We're going to take a group picture. Okay. It wasn't about the money.
And in third place, with a fabulous recollection of being a young musician, Michael Kovacs.
Once I just want to repeat the thank you to everyone for your wonderful stories. It was very interesting and tough to deliberate upstairs, but the second place prize goes to Mary Amato, and that is for telling an incredibly succinct, perfectly constructed story with a very happy ending. So, yeah, thank you.
I will echo what was said. What an incredible evening. Thank you so much for being so brave and so honest with us. Incredible stories. But we do have, it was very difficult, but we do have one grand prize first place winner, and that is GK Jairam. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you so much for coming out. The festival's coming up in just a few short weeks. Please check us out, montclairfilm.org. There's more Story Slams to come, tons of events, education classes. Thanks for being here. Get home safe.